Welcome to Job Reinvented Show. Level up your career with confidence. I'm your host, Pantea Kalhor. Episode 20, Clarity that Creates Clients with Manpreet Kaur, Clarity Business Coach. Welcome to Job Reinvented Show. I'm your host, Pantea Kalhor. Many entrepreneurs have this problem finding the gap between their customized method of reaching to their clients to whatever they're outside. I mean, sometimes you have to fall into whatever you really desire to find for your customers, your ideal customers. Let's just find out about your own talents, about your unique message that there is only in you. So here I have Manpreet Kaur. She has a background as a investor and financial advisor, and she worked in corporate finance for more than 12 years. So today she's working as business coach. For 3 years, she's helping customers to find their unique message and find their own ideal clients. Welcome to my show, Manpreet. I'm so happy to have you here. When I saw your profile, I knew that you have something unique to show to my audience, because I've seen lots of business coaches, but this time I think I found something unique to share with my audience. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's a pleasure for me to be here and share my expertise and really help your audience to
Thank
nail
you.
their messaging and get their ideal clients.
Thank you so much. So, how come you jump from finance to business coach?
Yeah, it's a really interesting story because all my life I was just focused about becoming a CPA, and then even after when I completed my CPA my professional degree, I was all I wanted to do, not an accounting or taxation work, but more of the finance work. I was more inclined in doing financial work. So I studied CFA along with that. And I did certain other certification in the finance. And I really enjoyed being in finance. And I think during my higher education, I was clear that all I want to do is work in finance. And for the 12 years, I worked in investment banking, dealing with different clients from across different industries, from educations to healthcare to road to infrastructure, helping them, advising their business and raising funds for them, pitching investors. So it never strike my mind ever in my lifetime that I'm going to be in this entrepreneurial journey and become an entrepreneur. But if I fast forward the things, in 2017, when my career was at my peak, I was having a great boss. Now in our industry, in our investment banking industry, it is mostly considered as a male dominated industries, because if you just imagine, if you have seen the picture movie Wall Street, Wolf of the Wall Street, or the Pursuit of Happiness, you have some idea what investment banking companies looks like and what the inside things look like. People always on call, they're always professionally dressed up, and they're always rushing. That was the kind of thing at my job as well, but I was lucky enough to be a part of a company where I never felt like I'm competing with any male person, or my financial compensations are not in line with their compensation. So I always rewarded as the equal performance based things. And my boss at that time, I used to report to my CEO of the company, and he was a super amazing leader, and he always pushed me to do more and create more clients, pushed my limits. And he was like a mentor to me at that time, and he was always constantly pushing me to go beyond and do the extra mile, go the extra mile, have a beautiful team, had an amazing salary, but still inside me, I was feeling this void that, hey, I have everything which people, at that time my friend used to say that I wish I had your life, because you are hanging around there with the CEOs and CFOs or big companies. You are dealing with the top level executive, the C-suite executives of the company. You're getting an amazing pay salary, and you're saying you are not happy. Wish, girl, grow up, you're just throwing tantrums. But only I knew that, hey, yeah, I have the salary, I have this leverage of connecting with C-level executive, but inside me there was a void, and I was not able to understand why this void is, to the point when I'm in mid of the 2017, maybe in June, July, I was feeling this sense of awareness that I'm dragging myself literally to work. And I used to cry when I used to press my elevator button and I used to wait for it. I literally used to cry and I used to wipe off my tears before I enter my office. And somehow it was visible to my boss as well, and he was also worried and about my performance because my performance was getting impacted. I wasn't able to contribute the way I used to. That that interest, that enthusiasm to do more financing was somehow, getting evaporated. It's like getting faded. So that made me to question myself, and I sat down with him. As I said, he was an amazing leader, so he was very open to communications. So I went to him, I asked him that, hey, this is the situation happening. I am not sure why my performance is declining or what's bothering me. So I need some time. Need some time to figure it out. And he approved a month leave for me, which is typically very hard to get in investment banking because there's so much work and there's so much thing that you can't expect 3 days leave in a consistent row, and getting a month off was a big thing for me at that time. That month I did for self introspection, and that month just gave me one clarity that I don't want to work in this job, not just this job, in this entire career of being in finance or in this corporate career. I just don't want to be here. And that was the realization I had. So I remember I went to London for a solo trip where I've been never nowhere. I just stayed at a hotel room for a month and I just introspected myself, what I'm lacking, what I'm finding, what I'm seeking, what I'm searching. And finally I landed in this clarity that, okay, I don't know what I want to do, but I just don't want to be in this corporate arena anymore. And the day I came back and landed, resumed my work, the very day I reached to my HR and told her that, hey, I'm putting up my papers. And at that time, I had no idea what I'm going to do next because I had no job offer. I have no clarity of what I'm going to do next. I just jumped in this uncertainty that, okay, I'll figure it out. And that's how I shifted from being in corporate high paying job, which at that time people told me that, hey, I wish I had your life, to being into an uncertain zone where I had no money, no connections, no know-how, and I'm here somewhere to create some kind of thing for me. So I started interacting with my friends at that time. And here's the thing, very less people knew about me, that while I was working for 12 years in investment banking, for 10 years, I was being a very sincere, dedicated student of self development as well. It's just that I kept it to myself. It never struck me a single thought that one day I'm going to use this knowledge and going to teach it to someone else. I attended Tony Robbins event. I attended Bob Proctor courses. I took many self-development lessons just to make sure that I'm aligned. I'm totally on the right plane. So when I left this, I realized that suddenly I had a plenty of time, because in my job I used to work
Beautiful.
somewhere 12 to 14 hours, and now that work was no longer there, I realized that now I have plenty of time. And to figure it out what I can do, what is my quirk, what is my gifts, I started interacting with my close friends. And the moment I started interacting, I realized they have certain kind of patterns. They have certain kind of problems on their surface. Like, my friends used to say that, hey, marriage is not working. And when I used to talk to them, I used to realize them, hey, but it is stuck in your childhood. When you were 4 year old, there was something happened and you're still stuck. So your marriage has nothing to do with that. Your marriage, your partner is absolutely fine. You are stuck there. You haven't forgiven that. You haven't, dealt with that issue, and that issue is arising in your life in health concern and relationships. And that was happening to multiple people. In fact, the connections I had from my previous job, so when I used to connect with them, I saw that same pattern in some C-level executives as well. So they were the CEOs, they were dealing this $1 million business, and they were the same people who were saying to me that, hey, my relationship is totally shattering, or my health is like off the charts. And those conversations gave me insight about more of these patterns, that okay, and one by one, and at that time I had no paying clients, because I was not able to see myself as a coach, a professional coach who is charging for these things. So here I was in the uncertainty, looking for what's happening to me, until I finally realized that, hey, this thing is something, happening to every single person. So every single person I'm talking in my network is coming up with a surface level problem. But when I talk to them for a while, and we realize that, hey, but this is not the problem. This thing is the problem. We are not looking here. That clarity and what I advised to my friends and their results, they showed up to me and they told me that, hey, you should pursue it as your passion, or your as a profession now. You should be a life coach. But somewhere I had no confidence in becoming a life coach. And I was like, being a life coach is a big responsibility. I'm not, no, I am a finance person. I have no certifications in psychology or handling humans. I cannot do that. So there was a for a whole 1 year there was a on off going on before I transformed into a business coach, and that's a different story.
So I have a few questions. Interesting story first. Um, First of all, when you finished with that company, what did you do for earning?
Hmm, I did nothing. I was just relying on my savings from my previous company, because at that time, even if I was, talking to myself that, hey, at least let's take a side hustle, or if not finance, let's try some other job. From my inside, no part of me was ready to do, as if,
I
I was
understand.
completely burned out, as if my inner self was telling to me, hey, I'm done. Let's call it off. I'm not gonna do anything.
You know, you are so brave, very amazing. This is the this is the time that you need to discover in yourself. Not everybody does it, because I know a lot of people work in the same industry because the money is good, they can stay there because it's secure. But these days in COVID, we see nothing is secure. Many of my
Totally,
friends left their jobs because the company couldn't pay them. So nothing in this world, in the business world, is secure. So
totally.
exactly, you are so lucky that you realize exactly when to stop, when to pause, when to think what you really want. Because I understand that's what I did as well. Like I had a lot of transition, job transition in my life. Since I was a programmer, I was really enthusiastic, so I love it. Then I said, no, I have to be a project manager. I need to study. So I I went to Australia to do my master, and then I said, okay, let's just do project management. Then the process took a while. I had a job after a while, but at at the deep level, you just thinking, what I'm doing? Am I interested in what I'm doing for years, or do I want to stop some point? Life is so short. You cannot continue to whatever burn you down. Because this is the way. If you go and press the button to go on the elevator and you're not happy to the place you're going because you spend so much mm, energy. I'm not saying money. You spend so much energy in the best time of the day. Like you start from 8, 7 in the morning, and by the time you come back home, it's totally late. You cannot do anything after this. So you already done. So that's what I always ask myself. Is that really what I want?
Mm-hmm,
Does
mm-hmm.
it does it work for me? Is this what I really want? So, and another thing you just mentioned about unprocessed PTSD people have, because I'm a PTSD coach as well. Listening to your words is so interesting. I'm also a certified life coach, just let you know. That I know from different people's life, when they have unprocessed PTSD, something in childhood happens, and then you can see it in adulthood. Let's say if you had a trauma in childhood, the repetitive trauma is going to happen in adulthood because of your belief system, right? As you said, your friend, the marriage is broken because probably she had this experience of bad relationship of her parents, and then in her real life she cannot even fix it because she doesn't know about the marriage. That
Yeah.
happens, yeah. Like I had a client, she lost her mother very young age. So, and she was struggling with fertility, and the problem was not her body because she was so young. The problem was her belief that she doesn't think that she deserved to be a mom. She didn't actually feel being a mom. She didn't feel to be there. So that's what happened to everybody's life. So as you say, what you see on the surface is not what is in the depth. And lots of people start sharing their message, as I have in my PTSD clients, and start talking about their feelings, the depths of their heart, and what is the feeling, and the trauma is. And they start to open up to understand what they want to be exactly, and how they can process this feeling. Because if you don't process your feeling at the past, you cannot go on in your life.
Yes,
Yes,
I totally own every single word you said because all these conditioning is there because it's like it's coming from your survival mind and it's trying to protect you to because it's think that okay, what happened there is was the most logical thing and you should continue to do that, and it is not aware that but you're growing, so it's keeping you stuck over there, and it feels like by doing that it's actually doing a favor to you by protecting you. Now you have to take charge of questioning that conditioning, that
I love it.
previous.
What you say is so interesting because I never look at this in the business side, I always talk about the PTSD problem and real life experience, but not the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
business. The person who used to live in survival mode, fight and flight,
Yeah.
probably she or he loved to be in a secure condition, secure job. So he doesn't want to take a risk. So he doesn't want to
Yes.
go to grow the business. So
Yes.
everything deep inside should be fixed before you
Yes.
grow. So growing, development, personal development in your life, it's very it's just moving parallelly with your business as well. That's what you did. That's the pause. You think, okay, you need a pause because you need to reset, you need to see where you are in, because life is so short. And then you say, okay, I'm going to change it, no matter how long does it take. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
just change
Mm-hmm.
it. So you just wait. It took, I think it takes sometimes to get the messages, because the universe tell you exactly where to go. So it takes for you for a year. You were so lucky, you were not really desperate to go to work, so you had this secure side of money financially,
Mm-hmm.
because that's not for everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then you had this time to pause and go and find your passion.
Yes, totally. But here, what I would like to add, when I had that savings, I was also aware that it just limited. So there's end to it. One day it's gonna go over.
Finish, yeah.
And while I was on the process of discovering what I want to, I invested in coaches as well. And that led me in a position of having debt, because see, I had only a limited amount in my savings. So in order to invest, I need to have, I need to borrow money at that time. And that's what I did. But that led me to have debt in my life. And a lot of people tell me that, oh, you are very courageous, you just take a shift, you just ditch that high paying job and you landed in your dream business. But it wasn't easy, because
No.
it wasn't the first time in 2017 I had this thought of leave this business. Due to the overworking hours, it like you're working for 12 hours, 14 hours, I many times feel like, hey, why I'm working so much? I have no social life, I have no time. Even my parents started telling me that your home is no better than a hotel. You just go there to sleep. Rest of the time you're on at work only. And whenever, even when I used to at home, I used to do some sort of work. So my mom always used to like
No,
tease me that, hey, you're always on work, you're
no,
never on holidays. So that used to make me think that, hey, let's switch or let's quit this thing. But whenever I used to make that plan, a promotion used to appear, or a new project, a new industry, a new
I
client used to
see.
appear. And I was like, hey, I want to do that. I don't want to quit. But 2017, it was not me. I would say it was more life making me to adapt to that change. And, it was pushing me. The life was pushing me to go to the uncertainty that now this is the moment. You cannot bear more than that. You have to make that change. So that's how it just
Beautiful,
happened to me.
beautiful. So, what was your first paid client?
Ah, I'm in a business for last 3 years, and I'm gonna tell you that for first 2 years, I struggled to have my first paying client, and it can be very devastating for someone like me. I would like to say people who are A players, who are very overdriven, who are very committed, and who are coming from a very successful background where their job titles or the kind of job they are doing is making me feel that, hey, I'm successful, or at least they are perceived by others as a successful, and now they are hanging in being somewhere where even people are questioning, hey, what are you doing? because I remember the same friend who used to praise me for my work when I was at my job, that hey, you're so good at your work, or you're so making so much money. After a year when it's happened, they started questioning me, hey, why are you wasting your time? Are you in depression? What are you doing? Why are you ruining your career? You're taking so long gap, it will be difficult for you to go back to your
Yeah,
job. And I was
exactly. That's what other people say when you want decide to be an entrepreneur, because it's not for everybody and not everybody understand this.
totally. And at one point, even my parents started questioning me that, hey, are you sure this thing you want to do? Because we don't understand what are you doing. And I had no answer to anyone, because I was also not understood at that time what I am doing, because I was just exploring for the answer. I had no clear idea of what I'm looking. I was just flowing in some sort of uncertainty
So you
at
had
that
your
time.
first client this third year, right?
Yes,
I
I
mean,
had
paid
my first
client.
client after
Yeah.
2 years of the paid client. And how this is transition, that in those 2 years, I invested a lot of money in mindset coaches. First, I invested my first coach I hired was a Facebook expert. She taught me how to build funnels, how to run Facebook ads. So I ran Facebook ads, I created funnels, I created lead magnets, and I made zero money. Then all this thing made me realize that, and when I would like to quote here that at the same year when I quit my job, suddenly my relationship came to an end. So the person I'm dating at that time broke up with me, and I was like, life is like pushing me to an extreme, and I just ended my job, and now there's another end to a relationship. So you can tell that, and whenever you end an image, you are a life coach. So whenever somebody uh, go through a breakup or divorce, when there's a in relationship is so close, there are a lot of emotions going inside
Yeah.
you, and a lot of feelings come up. So I was not sure what's happening to me, and the thing I was doing was not working. And it was happening to me for the first time, because in my corporate job, I used to be that, okay, I'm doing. I used to be that type A people. And now this not working was also making me frustrated, that why it is not working. I want to work. And that led me to hire a mindset coach. And then the second year I felt a little better, but then I hired another coach. While I was investing money with all those coaches, which I'm not bashing anyone, and I'm really grateful because I learned a lot from them, but nothing worked for me. I wasn't able to create the result I was looking, which is like a peace of mind and the clients who have money. And I was getting none from all those coaches out there. That made me to really think that what's going wrong. I mean, there are other people who are working with those coaches and they're getting results, but I'm not getting results. Suddenly what happened to me, I used to be that overachiever, and now I'm not able to achieve a single client or a single, I don't know, I'm not able to deal. At the same time, I'm helping other people to heal their relationships, and they are showing up to me 1 month after that, hey, we sorted. And I was like, and I'm not able to do this for me. What's going wrong? And the biggest thing that showed up for me, that led me to create my first client, was lack of clarity. From the day
Hmm.
one when I quit job, I had no clarity of what I'm going to do. And where I know a lot of people step into new ventures with lack of clarity. That's not wrong. You cannot have clarity all the time. You cannot always be certain of everything you are going to do next. Its future is uncertainty. This year nobody has this prediction of COVID going to happen. So having not having the certainty or clarity or a clear vision is not the issue. The issue was, are you able to or and willing to sit down and face that uncertainty. For me, when I recalled and I connected my dots, the very first day I quit my job, I was in this desperateness, maybe, that okay, let's create something. At the same time, I was helping, I was figuring out, but I was had no clear idea what. And that not having the clear idea, I was not able to or ready to sit with that void. I was looking that okay, I cannot sit with this free time. I need something to fill it with. I need something to do. I need some sort of thing to work out. And that also led me to hire work with those coaches. So I remember when I hired that first coach, I told her that I had no clarity what I'm going to create, and she said, "You will figure it out." When I was running my ad based on the people I served as my friend to help their mindset issues, I was really questioning myself what I'm doing. Am I really
Exactly.
want to do? Is this the thing? And I was like, but maybe she's my
Because
coach. She
what do
she
you want
told
to
me.
market? Exactly.
Yes,
That's the point. The
yes,
problem,
yes,
even let's say for other businesses, they exactly don't know what are the services is. The
yes.
problem, product is easy because when you have a physical product, you exactly know what you are doing. But when
Mm-hmm,
you have a
mm-hmm.
service, you exactly have to find the missing pieces of puzzles to just show that what you exactly do. Because I see there are lots of business coaches out there. They only say, I'm a business coach. What are you doing?
Yes, yes,
You have to
yes,
specify what is your service and what are you going to
yes.
advertise, why people have to come and pay to you.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally. And having this struggle of not knowing what I really want to serve people, I was clear that I want to serve people in one way or another. That thought was coming clear to me. That is why I opted this coaching field. But what I'm going to do with, you can serve with n number of things, but how I'm going to serve, what is my unique method, what is my process going to be like now, and what result it gonna create for them. I just cannot say that, hey, okay, I help you create 50K in this many days or this one month. Have I done it to myself, or I'm just questioning, or I'm just putting it out things randomly? And at that time, the biggest reason I see was I was not able to create the client, that I was putting things randomly. So as I said, having this lack of clarity is not an issue, but sitting with it is really important. So I was not ready to sit with it. I was not ready to deal with it. I was not ready to look it into the face, in the eyes, that okay, I don't know. Because there's a lot of pride involved there, that how can I face this thing that I don't know. But after 2 years of getting, you know trying things and just being rolling on that uncertain platform, listening to experts, listening to marketing experts, listening to business coaches, listening to launch experts, I learned a lot of information: how to set your funnels, how to write your ads, how to create launches, how to write your emails, how to do this mindset exercises. I go through, I think, all the learnings on self development platform I had for 10 years. I reread all those things. They're still not clear, until I just decided that, okay, it's time to shut the external for a while and sit down with me and see what I want to do. That moment when I decided that I'm going to sit with me in presence, in silence, to see what's in me, not what other people giving me, was the game changer for me. Because it's easy to get lost in the sea of information. Everyone out there has a tons of
Shining
information to
objects.
out.
Yeah,
Shining object,
because
yes.
I'm telling you, this is very interesting. Because you don't know exactly what you want. So you go from one program to another because you
Yes.
think that what they actually achieved is going to be your own result. But after
Yes.
finishing each program, then you see, is that what I really want? You know,
Totally.
you know,
Totally. And
that's
that also,
exactly for some people, like because
yes.
I'm also a fertility coach. So uh, people who are struggling with fertility, the problem
Hmm.
is they go from this fertility clinics to another one, doing too many round of IVF treatments, these things. But at the end of the day, again, they have the same result all over again. The problem is not the treatment. The problem is that, do you really know what's in deep? What is the what is the root cause of all of this problem? Maybe is not the treatment you get from the medical doctors. Maybe you have to discover something mentally in you, the PTSD that you had in your childhood, or maybe you have some other health issues, because there are lots of health issues which is related to your body, is not only fertility. That's the same with the business as well, because you have to know exactly, sit with yourself, what is your talent, discover your own talent. Don't go from one program to another because you want to find these pieces information and just assemble it together to find yours. It's good to find information, but the problem is they finish the program, but they never act upon it. They never sit there and go through step by step. All the programs all out there help many people. There are lots of
Hmm.
great
Hmm.
programs and many people get this good result from it. But so you
Hmm.
cannot say that all the programs are absurd or bad. The problem is you, because what is good with your own frequency? You have to find
Yes.
your own thing. And the first thing is, what is unique about you, right? Because you are from a different cultural background. Maybe your
Hmm.
cultural
Hmm.
background is something unique to you. Maybe all the experiences you had from the beginning till the now, till up to now, can help you to find your unique stuff. Or maybe your background, or like you are a journalist, or you have a passion in art. Not everybody is the same. Not
Totally. Yeah.
everybody I
Mm.
believe everybody has some unique talent hidden there that you have
Hmm.
to discover.
Yes. And as we mentioned before in this episode, that surface things can be different. You need to go deep where the answers lie. And after all that things that happened to me, that was my final call for me to, stop looking for the surface level thing, because all this information I was gaining, it was surface level. Now information is important, but it has its own time and place. When you're clear what do you want to do, then having the right information can be a game changer. But if you're not at all clear, if your foundations are not set, and you're just building the brick, you're trying to build a palace in on the air. That's gonna fall
Nice.
anyway.
So give me an example, a specific example of yours. Let's say
So in my
yeah,
case,
yes.
yeah, in my case, when I sat down with this knowingness that okay, I don't know, and I really isolated myself for 2 months, and I did the deep work, and I did the work, the kind of work you do. I really dig down deep myself what I'm trying to create. And so I try to first brush up my own beliefs that was holding me, because one thing that happens I've seen to people, especially who are always been uh, habitual to tasting success, and suddenly they're not getting it, they take it literally to their heart. And that's what happened to me. And I started this thing that, hey, I'm not good enough. And I started rolling that thread in me that I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. That is why this is happening to me. When I sat
Imposter
down,
syndrome.
Yes. And I sat down and I tried to peel down where it is coming from, and I saw the layers. That gave me a realization that, hey, during my work in the corporate, so the entire work profile, there was a part of work profile that I used to study the company I'm raising the funds for, or doing the consulting. So there used to be a process that first we used to really understand their business. Then we used to prepare their financial projections for next number of year and their proposal, and I used to write it on my own. And when I used to pitch it to the client, it was same like selling. So I was running in my head that, oh, I'm coming from a finance background, I've never been
I
trained
see.
or started in selling. But that was a realization that, hey, presenting that funding proposal to an investor and making them say, yes, I will invest in this company, which is a client of yours, is also a kind of sale happening. And I did that. And that wasn't an easy task, because usually when these investors who are sitting with billions of dollars of money, they don't have much time. So you hardly get 10 minutes to present your proposal. You cannot just start this telling the entire data and telling all the set of things. So I used to do the storytelling approach over there. And that clicked me that, hey, for last 2 years, I was struggling how to articulate my work and sell it. And I was digging deep in this belief that I don't know selling. I'm suck at selling. I am no good at selling, when I actually did it. It just that terms was changed. And that's how I related sale. And that you the thing is, you don't call it sale, you just call it presentation, pitching to the investor. Hey, the word was sale, and that was taking toll on my head, because sale, I was conditioned with something you have to force, and it's so hard, and it's,
Yeah,
as we
I
hear
like
everything
that. So,
now.
the interesting point is that uh, all the things that you learn in your job one day
Mm-hmm,
is going to help
mm-hmm.
you. I mean,
Yes.
you don't waste your time, because what I'm seeing right now for myself, I've done so many jobs.
Mm-hmm,
Since I graduated from university, I started with teaching in high school. And then I started my programming, like as a programmer in IT. And then I was a project manager. And I'm seeing all things really help me, because I used to do a lot of presentation with lots of audience, because I had like I was in PMP boot camp, so a lot of executive job execute executive people were there. So many CEOs and many actually owners, business owners. But the point is, you not wasting your time. I use all of my programming languages, all of my programming skills in what I'm doing. It's easy for me to design some things, because I was a web designer as well. It's easy for me to do the presentation, because I'm very confident. It's like talking and communicating with people. Doing the project management, I do and plan my own work with my clients. So you see, everything you've done before in your own job really help you now.
Yes, yes. And as I use the word storytelling, so there's a famous thing in this entire storytelling and another hero's journey. And that's what I call, this is a part of my program as well. And that's what I teach to my client, that you're on a journey, and everything you learn is making it, you are putting the pieces out there. You may not seem to make any sense of how these pieces are connecting to each other and making a picture, but give it a time. Let more experiences come and fall into these pieces, and when all the missing pieces are filled, you will be able to see the picture. That was happened to me, that I was able to click that, oh yes, this is something I've done for 12 years. How can I say that I'm a newbie? How can I say I don't know why I'm taking this toll on my head? And at the same time, I found a problem that it wasn't me who started as a journey of a coach and struggling to how to articulate my work, and first of all getting clarity of what I do, and then how to say it, how to market it, how to put it into communication in content that makes people really stop and listen to you. And I realized that, but I used to do that. I used to have only 7 minutes with investors, and I used to tell them that 100-page presentation I made in short stories. I used to create at that extempore. I converted that learnings into this process of teaching client that, hey, you can, in your content, in your marketing communication, now that involves everything, whether it's your introduction, whether it's your social media content, whether it's your email content, whether it's your live training, webinars, challenges, whatever you're doing, whenever you're interacting with your ideal clients, if you're not saying the right things, if you're not showing the right pain and problems, and I'm using the word showing, not telling, because there's a big difference in telling something what you do and showing something what you do. When you do that, people listen to you, and they not just listen to you, they want to work with you. And that's something I'm telling my client this whole year, that you don't need a big audience. Literally, when I started, I had no email list, no social media connections. My LinkedIn was all scattered because of my previous job connections, and now I'm adding something. Facebook was something I never used for business or even for social. It was just filling with my friends and my own family members. And it was just one post I posted, and after 4 days of posting that post, and it was just had 6 likes and one comment on LinkedIn. I posted it. It got on the day one 3 likes, and on the day two that three more like, and only one person commented, and that was also my friend. But after fourth day, I got a message in my LinkedIn inbox that, hey, I read your article, and it really felt like you can read minds. You are telling me my story. How can you help me grow my business? And that was like, this is
Wow.
working.
Wow.
That's what you need in business. And
Finally.
that client not just paid me, 1,000, 2,000, he paid me 5,000 USD for getting that work done for just 8 weeks. Now, this is how things shift when you know the right, when I said the showing the right pain points. And to do that, you need to know where you have you ever traveled on that journey which you're trying to solve for your clients. So why I can proudly own my work, because for 2 years I struggle in that journey of not able to identify what I do, not able to identify how to put it out in words, not able to able to identify how to create content, even after having the coaching support and taking many programs. Why? Because I wasn't lived that experience on my
I love it.
own.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody has a fantasy
Yes,
of being a coach, and then they
yes.
look at others as role model, but they forget about their own talents, their own hidden um, creative mind that they already have, but they don't know. Exactly.
Yeah, I can put it into your example that since you are a fertility coach, now I'm not a mother yet. So I can talk a lot about pregnancy, all the stuff that I intellectually know,
Hmm.
but I've never been pregnant myself. So I viscerally
Exactly.
don't know what it means to go through that 9 months journey. I will,
Exactly.
if I start talking about today and position myself as something a fertility expert, I will only
This
tell
is
what
a
I know
lie. Exactly.
intellectually.
You feel that is a lie because that's what I'm thinking. Why what I got my certification in PTSD coaching, because I wrote a book about the PTSD and I didn't know that is PTSD. That was about trauma and my healing journey about the PTSD. And I say, this is exactly what I'm meant to do. Then I started to
Mhm.
getting my certification for PTSD. And then because I had fertility problem and I overcame how
Yes.
to have my baby, then I've been in that journey. Then I
Yes.
had this discovery that PTSD and fertility issues are really connected to each other. And this
Yes.
should happen to someone to exactly understand why
Mhm.
you are
Mhm.
here, you know.
Yes.
So I'm seeing a lot of uh, doctors, medical doctors, and they never got pregnant, they never had their baby, but they are
Mhm.
delivering
Mhm.
baby. That's beautiful, but
Yes.
they never
Mhm.
understand the
Mhm. Mhm.
fertility issue of somebody who is already struggling with this. Like
Yes.
the only person now, I actually talked to so many interviewees about their fertility problems. Those medical doctors who already struggle with fertility issues, they
Mhm.
much better understand that what is going on there, and they can
Yes.
much better help to for
Mhm.
their patients because they already touched it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
exactly with what you're doing exactly, and you know
Yes.
exactly. You have to sit there
Yes.
with yourself and see what is going to be your future.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I have I know we are our time is already gone, but I always ask these questions so fast, so you have to be very quick to give me three
Sure.
tips to be successful as entrepreneur.
So, from my own story, I would say this ability to get present with the uncertainty, as a lot of people get into anxiety mode of, oh, there's uncertainty, there's panic, but until you're not going to sit down and until you're not getting to accept the fact that you can not know all the things all the time. So the more you sit down with uncertainty, be present, the more it easy. Second, I would say, practice undivided attention. If you're doing 10 things in your head, you're spending too much energy and you're spreading yourself too thin. Do one thing at a time. That was another game changer for me when I started practicing this, doing one thing at a time. That, really focus your energy and it gives you a
Yes,
huge boost.
focus. Yeah.
So that was the another thing for me.
Third.
Oh, okay, the third one. And third one is be present. Serve your higher purpose. And I know a lot of people say this, serve your higher purpose, know your why, but when you're getting started you don't know. I never knew what was my higher purpose, and that is why I do not said it to first, because once you have done that, once you are ready to be present with uncertainty and you are having the undivided attention, when you're really able to focus, you will be clearly to able to see your higher purpose, which is beyond yourself.
Mhm.
Then it will be easy for you to connect it and serve it.
Perfect. And another question: three tips for entrepreneurs who fail. I mean, not fail, to give up. How can they avoid it? What are these three tips that you can give them?
So entrepreneur who are ready to give up, you are asking.
Mm.
See, giving up could be could be perceived as any way. Maybe you don't, if you're giving up on your business, well, first thing, you should not see it as a bad thing. Maybe it's another chance of you seeing it, okay, this isn't the right thing for me. So a lot of people struggle in entrepreneurship because they get into it and they don't know when to give up or when to exit, and they continue to uh, suffer in their own job, in their own business which they have created, because now they can not go to any boss to say, hey, I'm resigning, and that's a big burden. So if you have done with your job and you transitioned into your business and you're feeling like, hey, this is not right to me, there's no shame. you can still call it a quit. But if this is your passion business, which you always wanted to do, but you're struggling and you're thinking to give up because it's not happening, my three steps would be still be the same. That first of all, be present. Try to see not the surface level things, go deeper. Second, seek clarity first. Before you overload your mind with all sort of information on, go to YouTube and search every how to thing you can search. It's not the how to that is the problem. It's what. First, knowing what. Even people say no why first, I would say first know what and then ask why this what. So seek clarity of what you want to do, and then seek the bigger reason of why you want to do. That would be the third.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
yeah, last to add, take ownership, because
Mhm.
if it's either your PTSD, it's either your mindset, either your fertility, either your business. People can be there out to guide you, to coach you, to help you, but nobody gonna change anything for you. Only you can do things for you. So if things are not working in your business or in your life, it's because you are not taking action. It's not because you're not taking responsibility. So when you are into business, it can be very easy to hire a coach and then blame it that, hey, I hired you but I did not get result. But it's very difficult to ask yourself, are you taking the ownership of this event? Have you done all the work which is required to do? And sometimes timing can be different for different people. So are you aware and present of all these things? So when you're in business, you see out there any successful business, they are all successful because they own their stuff. They own their failure, they own their mistakes, they own their miseries, they own their badly shattering and winding up of the companies and bankruptcies. But they stand and they're like, okay, I'm taking full ownership of these things.
Exactly.
That is why they are successful. So the third
Because it's
thing I would like
easier
add is,
to just delegate it to someone else. That was not me.
yeah, it's easier to put the finger and point out the blame. But hey, whenever you're raising your finger, three fingers are still pointing at
Nothing
you.
gonna be resolved. Nothing. Thank you so much, Manpreet. I really enjoyed talking to you. Another brave entrepreneur stood for her own desire, her own passion to leave her corporate job and start something amazing that she really likes. And this is going to be very inspiring, especially in this COVID situation that not everybody can go to work, especially now it's lockdown and then not, it's like on and off. You have to
Mhm.
sit and think what you're going to do for your future. Yeah,
I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad if my story made any impact on your viewers, on your listeners.
thank you.
I'm so happy
Thank
to
you so much,
contribute.
Manpreet. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.